let's go to a place where Ricky and I know quite well, and Ricky and I are usually close to killing each other on. Mm-hmm. NBA Finals Game 7 preview. Let's go into it. Dave, what's your prediction? Because we know our predictions. Ricky's got the Warriors by 12. I have the Cavs by 7.
He likes to get hyped over this and get angry.
It's gonna be the Cavs. Look, they're on a heater right now, and as much as I hate Draymond Green, the Warriors team is good, but it's just not falling for him.
I got two questions.
Draymond hasn't been great.
So you're saying that the Warriors are going to lose 2 at home for the first time this playoffs and lose 3 games back to back for the first time under Steve Kerr?
And you're also saying that a team is going to finally come back from down 3-1 to win a finals?
Yes.
Records are meant to be broken, Ricky.
And I'm also saying that
LeBron
Kevin Love
James
still hasn't lost a game starting at home. I mean, it hasn't happened. It's a thing. It doesn't mean it's valuable. It's just a stat. Look, you can make up as many stats as you want. I wear rings on Tuesdays.
Say that one again.
Kevin Love, as a starter, hasn't lost a playoff game at home.
Okay. I was going to say, I thought you said LeBron James at first. But
in your face.
No. Stats are just stats, and you can make up as many as you want, Ricky.
My whole thing coming in this, and it has nothing to do with the stats. It's Game 7.
You list off like 6 of them right there.
Just let me fucking talk.
Uh-huh.
It's Game 7.
This is what doing the NBA fucking previews with them is.
It's coming into Game 7, coming back into the Oracle. I think this Warrior team is going to turn it on. Harrison
Barnes is suddenly going to be able to shoot the ball within the vicinity of a basket.
They're going to feel it.
Draymond Green's going to show up and not get baited.
I'm not saying they're going to blow them out, but it's going to be a close Warrior win.
Bogut is out and won't be able to protect the rim.
There hasn't been a close game this whole series, though.
Yeah, Bogut won't be able
close throughout, but then it ends like what I said in the preview, 10, 11 points.
Bogut won't be there to protect the rim. Tristan Thompson's going to have a field day.
Iguodala's
probably not going to be able to play.
They're going to make adjustments.
Yeah, okay. What adjustments are they going to make? Who's going to cover LeBron James?
Iguodala is the biggest thing.
Iggy doesn't have a goddamn back anymore. LeBron James can put up 80
He looked about 85
points.
years old out there, and I was ready to get him like a walker. I wasn't sure if he needed it on the court because obviously they didn't have another answer, so they forced him to play.
I even said in our Game 6 reaction, I thought it was foolish that whenever they passed it into Iguodala at the elbow, like 2 Cavaliers would just swarm on this guy. It's like, why are 2 of you swarming? Right. He's not going to go to the basket.
Okay, well, if you can force a turnover, adjustments, you can make that adjustment.
No, but they weren't going for like steals for the pass. They were just like, okay, I'm going to make sure he doesn't go to the basket, and they kicked it out to an open shooter. It's like, what are you doing? He's not going to move anywhere. No, the injuries to Bogut and Iggy are obviously going to hurt the Warriors.
So who covers LeBron?
I don't think
he's never answered that question. I've asked him
there's
like 15
not a
times.
legit answer of one guy.
So if you don't stop LeBron James, who is out there to prove that he's going to dad dick the Warriors, I don't know.
You're going to fit it in here. You wanted to.
I don't know what you're going to do. Honestly, he just dropped 41 on you back-to-back games. He puts up almost triple doubles. And just absolutely proves he's the best player in the league right now. Outrageous levels over Steph Curry. Steph Curry on the ground looking up, being like, shit, that wasn't a foul? How come I'm not getting foul calls? Oh, yeah, that's right, because he's LeBron James. He's better than you.
18 straight points for the Cavs.
He contributed
LeBron James
to.
and the Cavs. 27 straight, either he scored or assisted. LeBron James is a different animal. He turned it on in the second half. If he does that again in the first half, they're gonna be down 20 going into halftime.
And see, here's the huge problem with all this, you two with the Cav talk. I've never said coming out that, the Warriors are going to win because, I haven't said, they're going to win because LeBron sucks. I've never said that, and that's what it seems like whenever me and you do the whenever me and you do the reactions, that's what it seems like. I'm not saying LeBron sucks. I'm not saying he hasn't stepped up. I'm just saying coming into Game 7, the Warriors are going to make adjustments. They are going to find role players to step. They may switch.
We're asking you what those adjustments
and
are,
throw
and
some
you
other
never
people.
Give us them.
Clay may be the one to try to take on LeBron. Just because they have to have somebody to try to take on LeBron. Festa Ezeli has to step up and take a spot kind of where Bogut would be. They need the role players to step up. And yes, injuries are going to hurt, but I think the Warriors overcome it for a Game 7 victory on Father's Day.
So you're saying a role player will step up and somehow stop LeBron James?
I'm not saying stop. I'm not saying it's not like, here's the drain, I got to stop it. You just got to limit it a little bit. Just knock it off the top where maybe instead of 41, he has 32, 35.
Okay, I still think 32 and 35 will still help LeBron win just because of his ability to make plays, his ability to play defense.
Especially if the Warriors come out early and knock down their shots.
Which they haven't done recently.
The biggest thing that fucked the Warriors over that last game, they got into a huge hole, and then by the time they were starting to knock their shots down, they couldn't get back. Well, they couldn't get back into it, and then when they were going to get back into it, Steph Curry gets called with a bitch-ass foul that shouldn't have happened on Kyrie. We know your opinion, Sean. You think it wasn't a foul.
And we know
That's
your
bullshit.
Too.
Because you obviously didn't watch the game.
I did watch the game, and you know I watched the game because I'm trash talking to you, okay? I keep explaining to you clearly why it was a foul. I keep telling you with the sixth foul that it wasn't a foul.
No, shut up. Kobe wouldn't have got that foul. LeBron wouldn't have got that foul.
That's the point.
I will post
the MVP of the league, the unanimous MVP of the league.
Shut up, Ricky.
That foul.
So we took a little break and we calmed down here. Ricky's going to let me talk, and I'm going to let Ricky talk, and it's going to be okay. I'm sorry if you were a headphone listener and you had him a little bit too high. If you do not have hearing, I'm sorry about that. But we're back. We're going to try to stay away from fouls here. We went over the fifth foul. We tried to explain our points, and I think we got them hashed out here. But looking at the Cavs, I think that the play of LeBron James has just been unmatchable by either Steph or Clay. You look at Steph, and yes, he put up 25 points, but it just kind of seems unmatchable. And you did kind of see that spark of Clay in that third quarter.
He tried to play a little hero ball.
Yeah, where he did have in that Thunder game where he came back and basically willed the Warriors back. If Clay can do that, then he can be able to match LeBron, no doubt. But I mean, the thing is I just feel like the Cavs have so much confidence and so much momentum. And I'm not saying the Warriors aren't going to be able to put up a good fight. I think they will be. But I think it's just going to ultimately come down to who has the better player. And I think it's just going to be that LeBron is easily the best player in the NBA currently. And I think that's going to be the reason they win the finals. I think just that LeBron James play and that LeBron James mentality is really going to put them over, whether the Warriors make their shot or not. I think LeBron is just going to have an answer every single time.
Yeah, and if you go through matchup by matchup, it just comes to that question of, okay, we've talked about it. Iggy's going to be hurt. His back's not great. So his coverage of LeBron, questionable. Then you go down low, Tristan Thompson is going to be pretty unmatched. And then the only spot is that guard play. And we saw Kyrie come up a little hobbly. And you got to wonder, is he going to be 100%? He's going to play no matter what because it's the final game. We all know that. But it's how healthy is Kyrie going to be? Because he's really that two guy. So LeBron can put up 41, but Kyrie still needs to put up 20 plus. And then we're going to have to see some effort out of the other guys on this team, whether it's JR, whether we see a resurgence of K-Love. There's a lot of guys who on this Cavs team can step up. And it just comes, we haven't seen K-Love for the last two games really make his mark, and this could be, the opportunity to save his career in, Cleveland.
Yeah, that's something that Ricky did bring up was the Kyrie foot injury. Is that that might be a huge gameplay, and that's the reason why my X factor for this thing is really Richard Jefferson, because we saw what Andre Roberson did to the Warriors, cutting back door. I think if Richard Jefferson can apply that energy, that's going to take people off Kyrie a little bit, enough to give him spacing and more spacing, because if the foot injury is really hurting him and really holding him back, I think he will be able to get a little more spacing and be able to get his shots more. I don't know if it's really going to affect his shot. I think it's just more going to affect his mobility.
His drive, yeah.
So I mean, I think it's going to be an evenly matched game. I don't think this is going to be a blowout again. I think we've seen the end of the blowouts, because if you look at the whole, if you add up all the points from game 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, they're tied 6-10 to 6-10. Both teams scored 6-10. The interesting
thing is, in these games, we haven't gone down to that last minute ticky tack foul for foul or foul to try to get the possession. And it's just been interesting. Do you think we're going to get to that case in this game? But the question is, because we foul so much now, and we've got guys fouling out at games, we've got Draymond, who's literally like half a wrong word from being thrown out of this series.
Consistency.
Do you think they're going to go for it?
That's what it comes down to, is consistency, especially with the refereeing, because the way I see it is, it was, what was it? Game 4. They let the game before Draymond got suspended, they just let him go.
Yeah,
they let him play. And then the fucking cock punch happened, or the cock kick happened.
Well, and, it was like the third one.
Well, and Draymond got suspended. Well, Draymond came back for game 6, and the referee said, well, we don't want that to happen again. And they fucking got tight with it, so tight to where it's inconsistent. It's like, well, what do you want us to do? Do you want us to be able to go after and there can be contact, or are you going to call everything? Make it consistent.
I think the best point you made in our Game 6 reaction was the fact that they went from a place where it was, fouls, they're going to let him play, and then to that tightness. I think I 100% agree with you there.
And that's where you get the people that then come out and say, "Oh, this league is rigged." I'm not saying that's right, but when you have stuff like that happen, that's where the people who have that opinion come out of the woodwork.
And call it tight or call it loose, basically.
The problem is
consistency. That's the big thing.
It's super obvious that the league came down on the refs and talked to them and went, "Look, we can't have this happen again. You need to call it tight." Because it is just blatantly obvious to me. And that's why I don't think that the rig thing makes any sense, because you can literally hear the NBA whispering in their ear, be like, you have to call this shit right. You can't let them go. You can't let players hit each other and just play so loose like that. It's not the image of the game. It's not how we want to have this series decided by these horrible fouls, whether they're called or not. We need to just call everything. Call everything.
Here's the follow-up I'm going to have to that, though. And I'm not saying that the league is rigged. I'm just talking from the devil's advocate side of it is, yes, there are some cases where you could say, oh, well, the league whispering into... As soon as you say the league whispering into the ref's ears, immediately you can spark the fire for rigged, because then it could say, well, why should the NBA have to do that? The referee should know, hey, let's keep control of the game, but this is we are the controllers of this series. Once you get the league whispered into the ears, then you get the people, and that fuels their fire for, well, then it's rigged because the NBA is controlling the puppet strings.
Look, I was pissed off at the fact that Draymond didn't get, completely ejected during the Thunder series for kicking a man in the dick and then trying to kick someone in the face and then kicking someone in the shoulder. But guess what? That didn't happen. I'm not saying it's rigged. I'm just saying that they got through that. And guess what? The ref play wasn't consistent there either. So I'm not saying it's rigged. I'm just saying that the NBA had to step in at some point to get this under control, because it was obviously just flailing out of control at this point.
And one thing, if you're saying it's rigged for the Cavs, or you're saying it's rigged for the Warriors because Steph didn't get suspended for throwing his mouthpiece when others did, if you look at it, he's a first-time offender. This is his first time ever getting ejected. It's his first time really lashing out. And also, there's been previous times before. I think Austin Rivers got fined for throwing something into the crowd. If you look at it, it's just because, and also if it was rigged, they want or if it's with ad money because they wanted to extend the series. If they want ad money and they're suspending one of the most popular players in the NBA by suspending Steph Curry for throwing his mouthpiece, people aren't going to watch. People aren't going to tune in because they think it's either rigged for the Cavs, or they think, just because, if they're extending the series, then why get rid of one of the best players?
There's only one thing this entire series that I think that the people who say that, oh, this league is rigged, there's only one thing that you could say that, and I'll go, okay, you at least have a point. Agree or disagree on it, and that was Draymond Green getting that flagrant that took him out for Game 5. And the only reason I say that is because it took them so long to say, finally, you have the flagrant, and then that took him out. That could be fueling, that's the one where I say, okay, then the league probably could have said, well, we don't want LeBron to lose 4-1. We at least want it to go 4-2. Let's give him a flagrant, and that's why he's suspended, because of the flagrant, not because of what happened. That's the only thing this series that I could say, okay, I could see your point, agree or disagree.
See, with Draymond, it wasn't the fact that he got a flagrant, it was that it was 48 hours after the fact.
Yeah.
That was the thing with me. It was just like, that's ridiculous.
For me, it was just
after.
Complete public outcry because of how unfair it was being treated, and the league was pressured into it. That's my opinion of why it took so long. It was initially, it was a bad foul. Don't get me wrong. Was it a flagrant? Borderline. But because everybody in the media was crucifying the league for letting Draymond get away with another foul, they were pressured into this call.
You know what I find really funny about that moment?
Yeah.
There's a guy like Charles Barkley who you look at the Steven Adams one and he talks down about Draymond Green. Oh, it's impossible.
Absolutely.
And then you look at the LeBron one and Barkley goes, oh, no, back in my day, if someone steps over you, it's your right to fucking punch them in the balls.
As someone who's been stepped over, Charles has to say that.
Yeah. And Ty Lue's face, you kind of looked at, I don't know if he was going like having Vietnam flashbacks or if he was like, no, I didn't teach you that part. I only taught you the other part.
Yep.
See, I have a couple of final questions. You think Dave thinks the Cavs are going to win. I think the Cavs are going to win. Ricky's on the side of the Warriors. My question is, do you think this will be a loosely called game or a tightly called game by the refs in Game 7?
I want
same as 6.
I want to call it tight. But at the same time, I think the best possible viewer outcome would be if they let them play.
Game 4 was amazing.
But if they let them play, they also expose themselves to a lot of things that could go wrong.
Okay, you could have a little tighter grip at times. Like game 4 was maybe we let them go too loose. I want to say
a lot of it's gonna come down to the players and how they act, because look, the refs can set the tone, but it's entirely on the players to know their limits.
Do you think this game will be tainted by foul calls? Do you think this will
could.
Foul calls will be?
I hope it's not, but it could.
Tainted. Do you think it will happen though? Because do you think it will be kind of a situation where they call it loose instead of tight?
50-50.
50-50?
I don't think it is. I think they'll get this one right.
Okay.
I hope they get it right. I do not want an NBA Finals where you're completely talking about, oh, well, the referees rigged that game. It didn't, you're not a real champion because you didn't. And that's either side, Warriors or Cavs.
The Warriors, clearly, if they win it, but they couldn't beat OKC on their own. They had to, get the NBA to back out Draymond Green for kicking a man in the dick and giving him a free pass.
Or if the Cavaliers win, it's, oh, well, you know what, Game 6 was called this way, and I
think both teams have their claims. I hope it comes down to who's the better team, and the refs let them play enough.
Do you think it will be a close game? Because we've seen only one game that was somewhat close, and that was the game that was 108-97.
I think it's going to be close throughout, but at the end, and because I'm picking the Warriors, I think it's going to be much like Game 4. Close throughout, and then at the end, the Warriors go up to win by 10 or 11.
I think that it's going to be close because they're going to get into that foul situation where they are just swiping. I know the Warriors are a fantastic foul shooting team, which is the only concern there. But at the same time, if that's the best opportunity to keep you in the game, you got to take every chance you got. But I don't think it's going to get there. I think the Cavs are going to walk away with it.
Final question: no matter what, no matter who wins this game, who is the MVP? Does LeBron take it?
It's LeBron.
You think so?
You can't have a performance like he's had in this playoffs without giving it to him. I think it's a slap in the face if it's not.
Steph or Clay would have to score 50
but
to take it away from
their
LeBron.
Inconsistency in this entire series.
No. All I'm saying is to take it away from LeBron, that's a performance we would need to see.
But so that's one performance over one game versus LeBron's performance over the entire series.
That's my take. If they score 50 in this game, then the NBA will give it to them. Otherwise, it's LeBron no matter what.
If Draymond wasn't suspended 5 games and the Warriors won this in 7, do you think this would have been Draymond's award because he wouldn't have had that game where he didn't play? Do you think he would have been seen as the most valuable player because maybe he would have stopped LeBron at some point in 5 or 6?
I honestly think if Draymond played, the series could have ended in 5 because Bogut wouldn't have been injured, Iguodala wouldn't have been injured, you would have had Green out there. It would have ended in 5, and it would have been Draymond's award.
One more question. If the Cavs win this, will it be tainted? Will it be a Cavs win, or will it be saying the Warriors
be tainted?
were injured?
No matter how the Cavs win, it's going to be tainted by people. There's no doubt.
Nah. If the Cavs win this one, LeBron's just going to walk away and be like, I've done it for Cleveland.
It's going to be tainted. Everybody. No. I'm just saying what's going to happen.
And you can think that, but Cleveland is going to win a championship for their professional team for the first time in decades. This man will be a god in Cleveland, and there is nothing that can taint that. Literally, the whole city is on your back at that point, and they love you, and there's nothing that will stop that.
We live in the social media era, and this is going to be, no matter how the Cavs win, if
you
they
can be an angry 12-year-old on your computer all you want, but Cleveland will love this man, and no one cares if it's tainted or not.
We're going to look, well, Cleveland's not going to care. I know there's going to be people outside that hate Cleveland that care, but I think it's going to be tainted if Cleveland wins. Should it be? Depends on how Game 7 goes, but will be tainted if Cleveland wins.
I think he's just saying...
He's just super salty.
I actually agree with him. I agree with him.
Really?
Because Warrior fans would come out of the woodwork and say, well, we were injured. Draymond should have been suspended. This game should have been over 5.
They're just going to bring up the Draymond suspension in Game 6. That's it.
There's going to be people who try to
go back to you shouldn't have made it to the series at all because OKC beat you.
Yeah, I think people will definitely try to taint it. Is what I'm trying to say. I see Ricky's point. I see your point. I think that LeBron won't care. LeBron won't give a shit. He won't win a championship for Cleveland. That would be the main story. But obviously, there will still be people, and maybe there will be people in the media who do say this will be different if Draymond was suspended.
I'm going to ask Dave a question that I asked you in our finals preview, only because you couldn't give your opinion. Let's say the Warriors win.
Yep.
But LeBron's the Finals MVP.
Yeah, there's a good chance.
Do you think LeBron? He's not going to say it publicly, but does he go home and when he lays down in bed next to his wife, smiles and goes, "I showed him. I'm the MVP."
No, I don't think he has that mentality at all. I think he knows he's a better player already. Now, I don't think that any award they give him at this point outside of a championship matters to him. I think that's his sole purpose is to win a championship for Cleveland, for his city, and he already knows he's better than Steph. there's nothing out there that's going to prove that. Whatever people have opinions on, people have opinions on. He's the better player. He knows it. And unless he's getting a championship ring, he doesn't care. Great. I got an MVP final. I really don't care.
That is going to wrap up this week's Fast Break. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Ricky, I know we butted heads again, but we'll have one more reaction to do that again.
I can't wait for the playoffs to be over.
I agree with you. I can't wait for the playoffs to be over. And if LeBron wins this, maybe next week we'll have the LeBron versus MJ discussion to make your blood boil a little bit more.
No, the discussion's over no matter what happens.
Again, just poking the bear, man.
What if he wins 6 championships, though? LeBron's prime is 30 to 40.
MJ never lost in the championship. That would be Ricky's the defense there.
MJ didn't need 7.
Yeah. Anyways, it's going to wrap up this week's episode of the Fast Break. Thank you so much for listening. This has been a long one, a special one for the draft and the finals. Again, thank you so much for listening. If you are listening on SoundCloud, hit that like button and repost this to all your friends because mixed in with all those dope mixtapes, you're going to find the Fast Break. It's going to give you some sweet relief from those terrible mixtapes. And anyways, that's going to wrap it up. If you're listening on YouTube, thank you so much. Hit that like button. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Thank you again for 2K. And if you do want to participate in the roast, comment on this video or tweet at us at Most Valuable Pod. You can tweet at us Most Valuable Pod. You can tweet at me at Schwarbo. You can find Ricky on Twitter as well at Ricky Widmer. You can find Dave on Twitter at Dave_don't_tweet. And you can find us on Snapchat at Most Valuable Pod. You can find us on Facebook, MVP Sports Network, and you can find our Patreon page, patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcast. If you donate at least $1, you will get our monthly exclusive podcast for Patreon patrons. And the one for July is pretty fun. Mike, Brandon, and I did it, and we'll tell you that Mike had some pretty good stories to go along with it. That's going to wrap it up for Ricky and Dave. I'm Sean Anderson, and we will see you next week.
Thank you for listening to this MVP podcast. Follow us on Twitter at Most Valuable Pod for more great podcasts.